faith disturbing.
So if you haven't been following the James versus Jonathan debate, it has essentially come to an end, at least between he and I. On this particular topic, there will be more battles to fight, I'm sure, in the future, and one in which we are both taking our actual side. But you know, I don't know. I got the feeling that some people were disappointed in James, but I think even more disappointing than anything James could have done, because remember, it was just his idea. I didn't challenge him. He didn't beg out of it or anything. Is that I haven't gotten a video response from any actual theist trying to take on these arguments. And when theists, generally speaking now, support what I'm saying in other videos, because I'm kind of cheating, like I am arguing theism on other people's videos still in their text comments and stuff, is that the support that other theists tend to give is fairly inconsequential and weak. So I'm a little disheartened about all this. I'm beginning to feel like I'm alone, more so than I did before. A lot of people were asking me what my actual beliefs were, and after next week, after we talk about New Age, I'd be happy to go into that into a little bit more detail than I ever have before. But it's pretty disappointing. It's just a matter of sort of shrugging. But I didn't want to, sort of in light of not really knowing what to talk about at this point, now that James has sort of bowed out, is to talk about faith. And this isn't necessarily a strictly atheist argument, but it does address a concern that I think a lot of atheists have, and I do even as a theist. When we're talking about faith, Richard Dawkins is one of the people, at least, that have split apart this idea between faith and belief. And I see comments regularly on this topic, people being very authoritative about the difference. I think in the end, this is really the wrong way of taking it. And Dawkins, like him or not, I find him to be kind of a schmuck, because he's playing philosopher when he doesn't know what he's talking about. The difference between this faith and the belief business is pretty much superfluous. We all have to have faith a little bit as philosophers. And let me give you an example of what I mean. Kant gave us a really great consideration when he said, "I think, therefore I am." When I was first told that phrase, and maybe this is the same case for you, it was given to me in the sense that I think, therefore I will become. Meaning this kind of like, think you're a winner and you will be a winner. Unfortunately, that's the first context I heard that phrase. It wasn't until later that I realized that no, it didn't have anything to do with that. It's just simply saying, I am able to think, therefore I can conclude with confidence that I actually exist. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to contemplate my existence. And that's a fantastic place to start when one considers his own worldview. And that really is, I think, the root of it all. The fact that we can't be confident that there are other minds is precisely the grounding of solipsism, where you think that yours is the only mind. The problem with solipsism, and if you ask people, why is that irrational, they'll just say, well, it just is, it just is, it just is. Treacherous language, I'll be like your older brother here, or your father, or something like that, older brother probably, and say you don't want to hang out with those kinds of kids. Meaning that kind of language. Don't hang out with that kind of language just because that's dogmatic. It's essentially, grammatically, what you're saying is a reassertion of the statement. It'd be saying like, my name's Jonathan. They say, well, why is that? And I say, my name's Jonathan. It doesn't do anything. It's just dogmatic. Dogmatism is just asserting a claim and then defending the claim by reasserting the claim. It's just stupid, you see. So the problem with solipsism is that by the same uncertainty that they base their belief on, we could go in the other polar opposite and say everything is conscious. And certainly we wouldn't be making this up. This is kind of a new age sort of thing, where everything has a mind, and it's all like everything's conscious. Like this is conscious, and that's conscious, and I'm conscious, and this shirt is conscious, and it's my, yes, everything's conscious. We wouldn't be certain about either of those, and we can base a worldview on both. But to do that, we have to ignore the other side, the other possibility that would result from our uncertainty. Because of that, solipsism is just unfound. So in this, we have no other choice but to have faith in the idea that there are other minds than our own. Now, faith is just a word that packs a tremendous ethos around it, a tremendous expectation around it that a lot of people don't like. The bad rap that faith gets is not in this particular situation, where we have no plausible way of rationalizing any conclusion that there are other minds. We have no way of doing that. No way of being certain anyway. We can be certain that we exist, but anything beyond that, it's like you gotta go out on a branch. And this is the basis of metaphysical points of views, of metaphysics, I mean. So if we have faith that there are other minds, or the belief that there are other minds, and notice that the way I'm using the word, the difference is pretty superfluous. I don't know if there really is a proper difference. Faith, I think, gets its bad rap, like I said, because it's supposed to defend an idea in spite of our ability to rationalize against it. In the case where we are discovering, or not discovering, but contemplating the possibility of other minds besides ourselves to be there, though none of us can be certain about it, we realize that we have no other choice but to just believe that. No one's running around with a counter-argument saying that no, necessarily mine is the only mind. Do you know of one? I don't know of one. So the problem then is when people say, I have faith in X, and someone says, well, no, that doesn't rationally follow because of A, B, and C. Then the person, the witless believer, I guess, will say, no, in spite of that reasoning, in spite of your evidence, in spite of your rationale, your experience, your whatever, I believe what I want to believe. And that isn't even faith at that point. That is dogmatism, where you hold to a belief in spite of other people's ideas. And you say, well, what's your basis for believing what you do? And they simply reassert the position because I believe, or whatever. It's dogmatic. It's dogmatic. So even when faith gets the bad rap, it's not really faith. It's dogmatism. It's the same bad guy that we all recognize from the get-go. So what this means then for atheists and theists alike is that when we deal with terms of faith and belief, it is only justified in situations in which there is no alternative. To say that there exists something beyond experience, like the other minds, then we can say, well, I have no way of being certain that there are other minds, but I am going to believe and lead my life on the faith that I am not the only person in existence. But when you say something like, I have a voice in my head, and that is God, and I'm going to have faith that that's God, now you're dealing in different territory, you see, because there are other possible explanations for that voice in your head, such as being delusional, psychotic, these sorts of things. That kind of faith is not faith at all. It's just dogmatism. It's just dogmatism. And so what I would suggest to atheists in my defense of atheism is to take that word away from people. Don't even call it faith. Don't give faith a bad word. Don't even give them the word. Just call it what it is. It's being dogmatic. It's dogmatism. It ain't faith, it's dogmatism.